Welcome to episode number 5. It's me again, Giovanna, your host. And I'm here to say I'm sorry. I guess you haven't heard from me in about 2 weeks. And this is because I was away at a conference and I forgot to bring this particular microphone with me. And if you've been listening to my previous episode, you will find that my sound changes drastically. And that's just because I've been testing various different mics. And I finally landed on this one. So that's the only reason. I know it's not a good excuse, but it is an excuse, and I'm going to stick to it. Well, this episode, I'm exploring a few things, happiness and profitability. And the reason for it is that while I was traveling, I was reflecting on a few sessions I had with my business coach a while ago, which I wanted to share with you. And I've called this episode, Does Profitability Equal More Happiness? So let's get into it. Not a numbers person, you will love this episode. I mostly enjoy looking at reports and finding patterns and not particularly sitting at my desk and plugging in and manually doing all the numbers on the spreadsheet. The easiest thing you can do is if you're using whatever accounting software you use. We at Bumper Leads, the marketing agency that I run, we use Xero. And within Xero, you have this ability to plug in various different reports. So I mainly basically use it because of that reason, because it allows us to, as our business needs change, we can plug in very different apps to help us with the business direction. So in this case, this particular platform accounting software actually has a great report. And one of those apps is what my business coach uses to generate for our monthly performance reports. So this app generates the report that I'm going to talk to you about, and it generates about 17 pages of information, and it's just based on your banking transactions that you have. It represents it in a visual way so that you can easily grasp how your business is performing on a monthly basis. It also gives you a summary on how to improve profitability in your business based on the numbers you get that month. So the app I'm talking about, it's called Fathom, Fathom, and you can check it out on my website, bumperleads.com, or you can check it out in the show notes. I will definitely include the URL in the show notes. Well, anyway, there are plenty of apps, as I said, so this is the one we use, and I like the visual representation of the data. So the patterns that I found really interesting is whenever I had moments where I hit burnout or I wasn't true to my vision in the business, it actually reflected in the reports. And the report that assesses all the changes in the key drivers for business growth that I really like, it plots them on a quadrant that shows, if you can imagine this square-looking graph, and on vertical side it shows EBIT. EBIT stands for earnings before interest and tax, and the horizontal bar shows total operating costs. Now, these are just numbers. However, inside the quadrant, there are 4 squares, so that's divided, by 4 different measures. So it tracks efficiency gains, if you can imagine one efficiency gains, one's decline, one's quality growth, and one's stress levels. And then every time we were in a fast-paced growth and you see the numbers growing, your revenue numbers are growing, the graph shows stress levels to be high. And vice versa, every time we were not growing, we were shown as decline and still in stress because of all the expenses you have to and overheads you have to pay. And then each time we turned over a profit, our mood levels improved. That's physically speaking. It doesn't show on report, but what it does show on report is that you are in a highly growing stage and also lower stress levels. So that's how it shows it. And based on this, for us, we were More happy each time I could see, each time we were growing with minimal stress impacts. I can see that in a month-to-month basis. I know that, for example, in April I was traveling. We were maybe in Istanbul, in the country. Maybe we were working too hard. We had too many projects and we could not finish and finalize those projects on time. Our stress levels increased, and you can see that in the numbers as well. So you could definitely relate to it in real life. And if you want to know more which report I'm talking about, as I said, I'm going to show that and share this in the URL in the show notes, because I definitely think it's something we need to look at on a month-to-month basis. And what I was doing when I was traveling, I was looking at my previous data, different quarters, and it was just amazing to see that represented on the graph. So that's why I love numbers. I love looking at those patterns. So have a look at your numbers and let me know if you're feeling, how are you feeling? Are you feeling yay or are you feeling nay? So that's all I wanted to share with you today, and hopefully you find this helpful. In the next episode, what I'm going to do is I'll have a guest on the show. I'm not going to announce the guest at the moment, but I want to actually talk to a few people who I've met during my journey in the business world, and people who have inspired me or helped me grow the business. So stay tuned, and until then, I'll see you next week. Thank you again for tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you can continue to have and inject more fun into your business. And of course, let me know what you thought of this episode by connecting with me via Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram to stay up to date with the podcast and everything in between. Ciao for now.